South African netball captain Irene Van Dyk arrived today to finalise her contract with the Capital Shakers, and it's likely her involvement with New Zealand netball won't end at Coca-Cola Cup level.
It's still a long way to go. There's a lot of decisions to be made.
And Van Dyk, she gets the rebound. Second chance for Irene Van Dyk.
Basically, the ruling is you can only play for one country in any calendar year.
Would you want her if she's available?
She would certainly be considered. I mean, just like we consider everybody. But, she's an asset to South Africa in the past.
Very quickly, Irene, what was it like, your first World Championship final?
It was wonderful, and the people we played against was excellent.
See, some people say, look, she comes in here, she's not even here a year, and the next thing she's taking someone's place in the team. What do you say to those people?
I can see their point of view as well.
It was like 3 weeks of literally slamming Irene for immigrating to New Zealand.
They should put themselves in my shoes as well, because I came over here to have a better lifestyle with my little girl.
No one likes to be criticised, and I love people to love me. I don't like people not liking me. So, and hearing those kind of things, yes, it does hurt. All of a sudden I started to think, yes, I am taking someone's space. I am taking someone who's dreamed to be a Silver Fern their whole life. I am taking these spots. The people had to realise that I was here for the rest of my life. It wasn't just a hit and run. I was literally this is my home. I am a Kiwi girl. This is going to be my home. And I think it wasn't until people realised that I was here for good that they were like, oh, maybe she's not that bad.
Well, I'm a Kiwi now.
Are you fully paid up and everything? Fully?
Yes, definitely, almost. Doing the paperwork, finishing up properly.
She even knows the national anthem.
Does she? Because a lot of us don't.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Growing up in South Africa was obviously completely different to growing up in New Zealand. Netball-wise, we were in isolation until 1994. So we literally did NPC kind of netball, and all the provinces would get together once a year. You literally get together like 2 weeks before NPC. You train really hard and then go and play the tournament, and they normally pick a tournament team that would literally just be the tournament team and not being able to go anywhere because everyone had sanctions against South Africa. In that apartheid era, as a kid, you have no idea what goes on. You know, you go to your school, which is a white school, and then your two friends who grows up on the same farm as you, they go to their black school, and you just regroup in the afternoon when they come back from school. And when you come back from school, you don't ask questions. It was never discussed. It wasn't probably until late in my high school where we were like, oh, is this right? Because you start to watch TV, because we didn't have a TV until I was about 16 or 17. So you start to see what's happening on the news, and then you start to question or start to discuss what's happening. And it wasn't until I actually went and studied, and we had trials, and we were inviting black girls to be part of the trials, which would, it's sick. If you think about it now, it's sick. Rosie and Manzo was in our first netball teams, and they were incredible. They could catch a ball in any position you put it. They would catch it, have it under control, and sink the shot. Like, we were in awe of them. You know, there were so many kids out there that didn't get opportunities, that had the right to have opportunities. It wasn't until then that you realised, what have we been doing? Why did it take so long? It had to be a massive shift for South Africa to realise what's been done. And all of a sudden it became the norm, which was obviously the way that you wanted, the way that it should have been right from the start.
We're into the last 60 seconds. South Africa ahead by 1.
Had to happen.
Oh, it's looking good for the South Africans now.
I think we didn't only stun the world, I think we stunned ourselves. As the South African team, we put the Silver Ferns on a pedestal because we thought they were the best team in the world. And everyone, when the Silver Ferns walked past you, you're like, oh, they're so cool. It was literally that kind of feeling.
More tight defence.
Oh, it slips out of the hands of Sanders. That could be the ball game. It's all over. South Africa, in a huge upset, have beaten New Zealand 59-57.
We celebrated as if we won the world champs because we actually beat the best team that were at the 95 world champs.
And Irene Van Dyk, who almost single-handedly has taken South Africa right into the forefront of calculations for the World Championship title with a brilliant individual performance.
Netball had no profile in South Africa at that point in time. So after beating the Silver Ferns and coming second at the World Champs, all of a sudden in South Africa everyone was like, we had a netball team that played in the World Champs and they came second. So when we got to the airport, there were millions of people that came and welcomed us back. It was just phenomenal. And we had flowers and we had people taking photos and the media were going absolutely nuts over us. It was just fantastic. It was so good for netball. We got invited to have dinner with Nelson Mandela, which was an epic event. Everyone in the world absolutely adored him for the way he just carried himself. That mana that he had was just incredible. He would literally just drag you into a conversation and everyone just were hanging off every word that he said. It was just absolutely fantastic. And all of a sudden, being in isolation for so long, everyone took note of netball. Netball was back in the international arena and we did pretty well. Kathy Doyle, she was the president of Wellington Netball at that point in time. She approached me after one of our games and she said, oh, would you like to come and play the Coca-Cola Cup next year in New Zealand? You know, we'll bring you over. It will literally start in January and you'll be done by July. And I was like, oof, tempting. So I sat with Mum and I was like, I just got asked to play in New Zealand for 6 months. Mum said to me, go for it. Why not? And I said to her, are you going to come with me? Because I needed someone to look after Bianca. And she was like, I'd love to come with you. So we pretty much made like an executive decision without Christy there. I rang Christy obviously and said, look, I have this opportunity. And he was like, go for it. I got a phone call from the president from South African Netball and she said, well, when I come back to South Africa, they are not going to select me in the team because I haven't been in South Africa. And she was like, to be quite honest, we don't really want our players to go anywhere. And I was just like, oh, this is not sounding good. Like, you don't know, like, have I just cut off my nose to spite my face? What am I going to do? And then Mum and I were talking and Mum said to me, to be quite honest, I can't see you go back to South Africa. She was like, every week you get to play competitions like this. It's not a once a year thing. You get to live your dream. This is you get to play netball every single day of your life. So Christy was in South Africa still teaching, going on about his day like every normal day. I rang him and I said to him, look, I'm going to make myself available for the Silver Ferns. And he just said to me, you are not coming back to South Africa, are you? I was like, look, if you want me to come back, I will. But, you know, we have so many opportunities and this is a beautiful country. He just said to me, if you get into the Silver Ferns, we can make a move. And that was pretty much it, yeah.
Bianca, Irene's 2-year-old daughter will grow up here in Upper Hutt. More often than not, her gran, Irene Senior, takes care of her.
And without Mum, you'd be pretty lost, I guess.
Oh, totally, totally. She's really a heck of a lot of help.
I rang Netball New Zealand and said, how do I make myself available for the Silver Ferns? Obviously speaking to Dame Lois, she literally guided me into what to do.
There is a bit of a controversy brewing about you. You probably realise that. How do you feel about that?
Seeing it from my point of view is you can do sport for only a certain amount of time. I mean, you can't do sport forever, or you are not as good in sport as you are on a certain stage in your life. And I just want to play to the best of my ability for the time that I still can.
Irene has played Coca-Cola Cup. She's been here since January. She's put a stake in the ground and said she's here. Likewise, I do believe our New Zealand players that have been in New Zealand teams need their cages rocked a little bit by other people competing.
On Tuesday, the Silver Ferns team will be announced. Has it been worth it for Irene Van Dyk? Turning her back on selection for South Africa and aiming instead for the Silver Ferns.
Thank you all for being here today. There has been unprecedented interest in the naming of the Vodafone Silver Ferns by the media, by the netball communities and by the general public.
I got the phone call and told not to say anything. I could not say anything. I literally, as soon as while I was still talking on the phone, I yelled at my mum. I was like, oh sorry, too late.
The team is Donna Lofagan, Southern Sting, Irene Van Dyk, Capital Shakers, Adine Harper, Otago Rebels.
You had the Bernie Smennies, you had Anna Roberys, you had Donald Hagens, you had Belinda Collins, and all of a sudden I'm part of that. It was just incredible.
Will it feel strange for you wearing Silver Fern?
I don't think so, because I played Coca-Cola Cup and I really became a Kiwi during this time, and I'm just going full out there and I'm going to play the best to my ability.
Are you worried what the reaction will be at home?
No, not really, because I'm here and I'm here to stay, and there's no way that I'm looking back.
Did anybody try and put any pressure on you to go there?
No, not at all. But I won't go.
Honestly, it was just incredible. Let's just say that first training session, that was a whole different experience as well. I can remember Anna Robery and Julie Seymour coming towards the goal circle, and I was standing in the goal circle, and Julie was landing on the goal circle edge, and I was still in the same place, and she looked at me and she was like, are you gonna move? And I was like, hold that thought. I was like, oh my God. And they were too quick for me. There was no way that I should have been there. Sitting on the sideline, actually watching them was poetry in motion. How quick they moved, and the understanding between them, and you know, just the openness of the court was fantastic. I can remember sitting next to Yvonne Willering and I'm like, amazing! I was like, did you see how quick that was? And she literally just, shush, you're not the coach. But they were just fantastic. They were just beautiful to watch.
So we're ready to rock in Newcastle. The Australians have the World Trophy, but can they grab the cup tonight?
Playing the Aussies for the first up, I was just so proud. I was so happy to be there. And it was just exciting. And I could see all the girls on the court, and we didn't play our best game, but for me it was incredible. It was my best game until I had to actually get up and play. It's like, they were amazing. And then Yvonne was like, half-time, she looked at me and she was like, go warm up. And I looked at the rest of the bench and I was like, go warm up. I wasn't going to go warm up. Hell no! Those people are way too good for me. And I probably stayed for a minute too long, and Yvonne just gave me the message. She was like, go warm up. I was like, oh. And and I looked and there was no one else, and I was like, oh, I think she's talking to me. I think now she's actually talking to me. Went and warmed up, literally packed myself, because I realised there is a big potential that I'm gonna get put on. And then she did put me on, and I was like, oh!
Lockhagen picks it up, and over it goes to Irene Van Dyk, and what a moment for the former South African captain, her first goal as a New Zealand Silver Fern.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was just incredible, and I know all the girls were incredibly disappointed, but that was my favourite part of everything. It was like we were competitive. I thought we were competitive. The rest of the team didn't think so.
53-30. Australia have beaten New Zealand at Newcastle in the Fisher and Paykel Cup.
We prepared really well for that South African trip. As soon as we walked into the netball stadium, everyone gave me hugs. You know, I knew I wasn't the villain. All my old teammates were hugs and kisses, and everyone from netball South Africa as well. Everyone was really, really welcoming.
And here it is, a very special moment, I'm sure, for Irene Van Dyk. It's been a very emotional time for her since she's been back in the Republic.
And even talking to some of my 95 group, none of them had any animosity towards me at all. They all just wished me well and, yeah, followed me wherever I went. So that was pretty amazing. We had like a core group of netballers that played the majority of the tests, and I think the bench players didn't get a lot of game time because the ones that played the game, they were the best. Like I think Ruth chose the best players to play. She didn't want to give players a turn just to feel what it feels like. She wanted to win every single time.
Yeah, lovely hold from Irene Van Dyk.
That is the culture we had in that era, is we win.
There it is! They have done it! Unquestionably the best team in the world.
She's the best goal shooter in the world, really. There's no doubt about it.
It is just such an honour to play for New Zealand, and it's just such an honour to play for the Silver Ferns that you don't want to give anyone a turn. You want to be the one that start the game, and you want to be the one finishing the game. So I think that era of player that was playing then had that desire to want to start the game and finish the game, and unless we're 30 or 40 up, then the others can have it too. There were periods throughout my career where some teammates, players were like, oh, she needs to stop. And the thing is, you can either go one of two ways. You're either going to go, yeah, I need to stop, or nah, there's still lots in this old girl. I think Christy was quite instrumental in the way that I would change my game and do things differently. He's very analytical. Although he's a cricket coach, he's very analytical, netball-wise, tactically as well. And yeah, we just sit together and we're like, look at the movement patterns and things that I've done, and then change it up and just do it over and over and over again until I kind of master it. It's those kind of things that really pushed me and really kept me going, and I think kept me in the game for as long as it did. Oh, the day Mum passed away was rough. I can remember, I think Christy must have rang Knowles before he rang me, because when my phone rang, Knowles was at my door. So I answered my phone and Christy told me that Mum had passed away, and Knowles was right there. And it was, Knowles and Belinda Muller, they were just incredible. As soon as I put the phone down, they were there and they carried me through the whole day. There was not one moment, and I think Knowles said to Casey and Laura, you don't leave Irene alone this whole day, because they were literally hovering around me the whole day. It was really hard, and I think that whole day was a complete blur to me, because I can remember the last ball, and a Scarlett Harrison would always get a rebound, and the ball rebound and it bounced into my hands, and I don't know how it happened, because Scarlett would always get that ball, and I shot it and we won, and I literally fell apart after that.
The magic resurrection is complete, and they make the 2012 Grand Final.
I was a mess after that. I can remember Belinda Muller holding me, and I was just shaking, and I just could not stop. It was like a relief that we had the game and we won, and that everything is just falling apart. Yeah. I rang my sister after the game and I said to her, do you want me to come back to South Africa? And she said to me, if you do, I'm sure Mum's going to wake up, so don't. So that was pretty much what I needed to hear from my sister, is you finish your job. Mum would have loved to see you play the final. So you go and do what you need to do, and then after the final you can come to South Africa and we can celebrate Mum's life.
Into the safe hands of Van Dyk. They've got a 2-goal lead. There are 30 seconds on the clock.
It was kind of, I had Mum with me that whole week, and I know she'd passed, but I got strength from somewhere, and I don't know where. I honestly, I have no idea where I got it from to go through that week. And I think the whole Magic team drew strength from that going into that game.
Kiwi Magic in Melbourne.
We just wanted to make it the best game that we've ever played, and we did.
And the ANZ Trophy has a new home across the Tasman. And it's taken 5 years, but a New Zealand side has won the ANZ Championship.
Oh, that was not my best move. Yeah, in hindsight, I probably should have stayed with Magic. I just didn't fit the team. It wasn't me. I just couldn't find myself there, and that was definitely the downfall. I knew I did not play the best netball that I could play. And normally, you know, you go for selection and you want to be in the Silver Ferns team going to Glasgow. You want to have one more swan song. You still want to play. And I think for some players like myself, it's really hard to see that you're not up to scratch anymore. And normally the coaches would ring and say you're successful or you're not successful to go to Glasgow. And I can distinctly remember Y ringing me and go, can you come and see me in my office? And that kind of, she never invited players to go and see her to have a discussion about it. Like, she would either say, congratulations, you're in the team, or unfortunately, you didn't make it this time. And as soon as she said to me, I need to go and see her, my heart sank. I rang Christy and I started crying, and I said to him, I don't think I've made the team. He was like, what do you mean? I was like, why ask me to come and see her? He was like, maybe she just wants to talk to you. I was like, maybe. He was like, what does your gut tell you? I was like, I'm not going to make it. And he was like, just be strong. It doesn't matter what happened, just be strong. Deep down I knew I was not the best in New Zealand anymore. But I also thought that I really want to retire on my terms, and I don't want to get dropped. And then I walked into Y's office, and if there's one thing that I have learned from Y is how to have a conversation, a hard conversation with mana, and how to have a hard conversation without the other person losing their value. And walked into Y's office, and she looked at me, and I said to her, I'm not going to be in the team, am I? And she said to me, I am not going to put you in my team but I'm going to give you time to go out your way. And for that, I will always be grateful, because netball is my life. It's always been my life. And for her to give me that opportunity to step away from the game that has made me who I am, I thought that was pretty spectacular.
Sport now, and international netball lost its biggest smile and the greatest player in its history today when Irene Van Dyk retired just weeks out from the Commonwealth Games. Van Dyk leaves behind an extraordinary record, 217 tests, 145 of them for New Zealand.
Netball in New Zealand made me a hero, and I think I've got a lot to give back. If there's one difference that I can make in someone's life to play this incredible sport, I want to do that. I want to make a difference, and I want to be that person when someone becomes a Fern, go, I remember watching Irene and I wanted to be just like her. And if I can make a change in one person's life to follow their dream or to become a Silver Fern, that would be epic.